What's up? What's up? Welcome back. So, this is Talking to Myself, capital S. What we're talking about in this episode is if life feels boring, it feels like it's the same stuff over and over, kind of like that feeling of being stuck. What that pattern, right? It's a pattern. It's a pattern because the purpose of patterns is to show where we're unconscious, where we're going through life like on autopilot, kind of just in the background of things. And it's uncomfortable because it's calling your attention to where you're not experiencing life. The whole purpose of being alive is to experience life. Everybody talks about like what purpose is, more in the action sense. It's more to experience life. That's why you feel to the degree that you do. But then when you numb how you're feeling, it's going against your purpose. You're trying to shut off who you are, right? That's why you have ranges of emotions. And when you start to limit it to like only trying to feel one way because you don't want to feel the other way, then it starts to kind of go down the path of numbing. So when it feels like things are kind of like it's the same old, I wake up, I know what to expect. I'm going to wake up, sit up, brush my teeth, blah, 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 blah. Whenever you feel like any moment is going to be the same as it was before, what's happening is you're comparing that moment to the past, right? You know what to expect. It's like, yeah, I'm going to brush my teeth. Yeah, I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to make coffee. Nothing's different about it. But what you have to realize is you're doing it for the first time, though. You're doing it for the first time in that day, in that moment. Every moment is a brand new moment that's never happened before. And it's something that you have heard before, most likely, especially if you're checking out this kind of content, if you're on my page. But when you realize the true genuine truth of that statement, that you really are, even again, brushing your teeth. You're brushing your teeth for the first time today, in this moment. You're making that coffee for the first time today. But because it's similar to what you've done before, you're like, oh, I know what to expect. This is the same thing. When you say you know what to expect, then you, without realizing it, subtly start to go into autopilot because you're telling yourself there's nothing to experience here. It kind of just is what it is. And then from there, you start to now go layers and layers to like taking the back seat of the experience. You go from being the driver of your car to going to the passenger seat and then to the back seat. And then if you disconnect enough, you go to the truck. But what you get to see, though, is there's so many ways to where the things that you're wanting are readily available to you, but it's in the present moment. And I'm going to go over what those experiences are that we typically have in day to day and typical ways that we go about experiencing the ways that we want to feel, to where it'll get the logical part of your mind that's saying it has to come in this specific way, typically in the form, that's why it's typically in the form of money or traveling or relationship, right? It's the typical things people want that they feel would enliven them or add some form of richness to their life. And richness like in the quality of how life is going to feel, not really the tangible stuff. So what it is, it's, let's say, drinking, right? We'll go down the path of like drinking. With drinking, there's the feeling of being able to let go of the stress, right? That's like the first easy level one, life could feel better, is if I'm not worried or stressed out all the time. Cool. That's why people go for a drink, whether that be wine, whether that be a martini, a beer, whatever, right? There's a certain point where, and that's why people have their favorite drinks. Alcohol tastes disgusting by itself. But when people drink it, when people have their favorite drinks, they already have it measured out as to, let's say tequila, it'll take 3 shots and then they know that it's going to hit like that feeling, the feeling of like ease. And what happens is more often than not on the way there, like when they take the 3 shots, some people could chill at the 3 shots, but sometimes the stress is so much, they're like, before the 3 shots kick in, the impatience starts happening of like, I don't want to wait, like let me just get another, and then it goes way beyond the chill spot. But that ability to feel that ease, right? That peace of mind of not being stressed out, not like trying to fix something or find a solution to either your finances or your relationship or even whatever it is that you're dealing with yourself, to be able to put that aside and not have to think about it anymore. That's what the drinking is doing. But because we don't realize that's what we're wanting and that's what we're doing, then that's where the codependency starts to happen. That's where you see a lot of people, some people can't go a full day without drinking. But then there's people that like, they have to do it at least every week, right? On the Friday or the Saturday. And it's just, they're not aware as to what they're getting out of that transaction of drinking. They just see it as like, I'm winding down, I'm letting loose. They're kind of giving themselves the hint of what's happening. But again, when you're when you're in the trunk of the car, you can't see what's happening. And you're so on autopilot that it's just like, this just feels better. But you don't know why. It just feels better. But what it is, it's you're giving yourself the permission to just be here. And that's why if you realize when you're here, when you're present, life feels so much better. Because you can actually experience the life around you. And you see when you're experiencing life around you, you actually get along with a lot more people than that you anticipate. You can hear like your favorite song, and then it's like you can hear, at least for me, right? You can hear like Alice DJ, Better Off Alone. And it's like, bah, bah, nah, bah, bah, bah. And then like you see somebody else dancing, and then like all of a sudden you're best friends. And you didn't even know that person. Whereas sometimes if you're sober, you're trying to avoid that person. Like, I don't know who that is. Like, so it's seeing, right, all these ways of the ease of life is readily available to you because you have the ability to put those thoughts aside. But the pattern is showing there's something about it that you're not allowing yourself or giving yourself the permission to do that. And again, that's the purpose of patterns, because with patterns, there's something that's tied to that thought that usually has to go along the lines of affecting the sense of safety and the sense of trust with oneself. But we'll kind of stay in flow. The sense of safety is compromised to where it doesn't feel safe to fully be here because I have to take care of this. If I take care of this first, then I can fully relax into this moment and enjoy life. So that's why there's always this constant like fixing approach that's taking place as to how can I fix this so I could come back? Where you have the option to come back, it's just being willing to put that aside and let that go. And whatever the pattern is telling you, even right now as you hear that, as to why you can't do that. And patterns are very convincing. But again, they're not convincing to get you to keep it. They're convincing to pull your attention to stop ignoring it. They want to get you to see the core of it, but what happens is it's so uncomfortable we try to distract from it. So there's the drinking version, right? Another one is like traveling. And it's seeing that, again, with the convincing part is we need this to fall into place, and then life could be way more enjoyable. I could enjoy life more. So let's say you have a trip booked. You have a trip booked to go wherever it is that you want to go. That's like, it's on your bucket list and you're excited to go, and you're either going with your partner or with friends, whatever like your exciting trip is. But the flight is at like, I don't know, like 2:55 a.m. I don't know why I picked that random time. 3:15 a.m., right? So it's a very inconvenient time. You can't really get a full night's sleep, but that doesn't really change how you feel about it. You probably won't even go to sleep because you're so excited for the trip. And you get to see that you have like such an enjoyment for what there is to look forward to as to what there is to experience. That the lack of sleep really isn't a big deal for you because you feel so much joy and excitement and eagerness and anticipation, right? Positive, not even positive because everybody's like, oh, negative, positive. It's not so much about positivity, but it's just like this excitement, right? You have this genuine excitement of this is going to be so fun for me. It's going to be so enjoyable. And you don't mind if you get like 20 minutes of sleep, as long as you wake up in time to make it to the airport and then go and have your fun. So other times, right, let's say when you have like a rough night's sleep, and let's say you have work or whatever, it doesn't feel the same. And there's almost like a dreadful feeling. And you get to see what it is. It's what are you giving your attention to? And again, that's the purpose of patterns. The patterns are showing you what are you putting your attention to. Because even something, as we said in the beginning, even something like making your cup of coffee, when you think like, okay, you're just going through the motions, it's just making coffee before you go to work, you're not fully able to be intentional with making a cup of coffee as if it's your first cup of coffee ever, and then really savoring the taste of it. It's just something else as a part of your day. So same thing as to like when you think about the word work, it doesn't really feel good, usually, because it's thinking about like, well, yeah, I got to wake up and I got to go here and I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I don't want to be here. And it's again, passenger seat, back seat, trunk. I don't even want to be here. I don't want to experience this. But there's something along the way that got you to forget why you enjoyed that specific job. Because what you have to remember is you don't have to do anything. And it feels that way whenever you're in autopilot. But when it comes to work, you could have applied for any job in existence. And that's a powerful realization to have, because when you feel, and I've been there, I've done warehouse jobs. When I first started work, I did KFC. I know how it feels to have that feeling of like life is out of your control. That's actually what got me to fighting, because I felt if life was out of my control, fighting was the only thing that felt fair, where I could take life back into my own hands, literally. So I get the feeling. But the realization I had a while back is you could have applied to any job in existence. Out of all the jobs you've ever had, every time you could have picked any job. And you could have, I don't know, like focused on knitting or I don't know, like cleaning sewers, or like really like think it sounds ridiculous because it's like, yeah, but I won't do anything like that. But it's like, that doesn't mean those jobs aren't available. Just because you didn't go for it doesn't mean that it's not available to you. And as you start to like look back and see like, wow, you really do have so many options. And even though you picked a job that wasn't exactly fully what you wanted, there's still a reason that you picked that specific job, because it was better than, I don't know, whatever, cleaning toilets, or what. Even if you do clean toilets, there's something about the job that you picked that felt exciting to you. And even if the exciting part was just the pay, right, in that moment, because you had a vision, you had this idea as to what you would do with the pay. And something happens along the line to where you kind of took your attention off of that excitement. And then now that's just an area where you're in autopilot. And again, that's the purpose of the patterns, to help you snap out of that autopilot so you can come back and feel life again, even if it's feeling pain. Because life wants you want you to feel something, not just be here going through the motions. That's not why you're here. Your purpose isn't in action, it's in experience. And as you recall, like, okay, even if things don't line up according to plan, right? Going back to the trip with your partner or with your friends, would you have preferred a flight at a later time, I don't know, 9 a.m. or maybe even 10, 11, so you can get a good night's sleep? Yeah. Like, do you have an ideal situation better than the flight at 3:15? For sure. But the fact that it was at 3:15 didn't take away from your excitement. You're still willing to, like, okay, not so much willing to go through the pain, but it's you're just present with, this is the current moment. The current moment is my flight's at 3:15. And that's the moment that's going to lead to the moment of me being on the plane and lead to the moment of me being at the resort or whatever the experience is going to be. And it doesn't make you want to go into autopilot. It doesn't make you want to distract or numb out. You're so fixated on the joy of what it's building up to. So that goes to show that something is happening whenever there's the feeling of like, I don't want to be here again. Like with work is a very easy one of like, I'm kind of just going through the motions, where you're not seeing what got you into the first place. And then there's the fear and whispers of like, this is kind of forever. It's like, well, there was something exciting about it when you first got into it. And also, as you remember what's exciting about it, you get to remember the things that you wanted to do. Again, as you step back and see like, out of all the options, the true options available to you, you could have the job of like climbing up the towers, like the cell towers, and dusting them. I don't know if that's the thing. But you get what I'm saying. Like, you have so many options. There's like cleaning cow manure or whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying, take a step back and realize that even the job that you're not that excited to be in, you still chose it. You were drawn to it for a specific reason. And even if, again, it's just the pay, the excitement was this was a building off of thing, right? This was something to build into the next. But somewhere along the way, it's forgetting about that because it started to shift into autopilot, just kind of going through the motions, because you're not really experiencing every day as it's your first day when you show up to work. And as you start to remember that this is my first day at work at this place. Cool. Now there's no story every time you go in there of like, okay, there's Becky, the manager, and I can't stand her. I could chop her in the neck if I want to. Just a quick, if she steps at me sideways and asks me to stay a little longer when she sees that I'm about to clock out. You see, like, that whole story, you little by little started to go into autopilot. And you're not even there anymore. And you're just going through the motions. And that's really what you're pissed off about more than anything. It's the fact that you're not experiencing the life that's happening in front of you. And another layer beyond that is when people do, if you've ever done any kind of form of an enhancer. An enhancer could be smoking bud. It could be an ayahuasca chip. It could be mushrooms. It could be LSD, any type of enhancer, right? What that shows is you had the ability to feel that way about life this entire time. And as you think about enhancers, if you go into that trip, right, and usually you end up feeling good even before you end up having a bad trip. Unless you're around people that you don't fully trust, and then you most likely went into a bad trip right away. Personally speaking, I haven't had any bad trips because I set my intentions before I do stuff. I might have gotten paranoid a few times before in the past when I smoked. But as I started to notice that, I made sure to like set intentions even in smoking or edibles or anything like that. But there's always the moment of feeling good, right? Of like, wow, this feels really good. This is awesome. And there's like a love for life. Again, even like with smoking, it's like there's the love for like food. Even like when you're wasted, right? Going back to drinking, and you get like a Big Mac or something, and it just tastes phenomenal, right? That's when you see people, they're wasted and they're just like, and you see them like just breaking down enzymes, and you can hear it that they're just enjoying it so much, right? Even again, like if you don't do enhancers, let's say you just drank and you hear your favorite song and you just want to dance because you just want to express how like good life feels. Any type of enhancers, they're enhancing what you already have within you. They're enhancing the feeling and joy of life and for life that was always there. But when you're an autopilot, you're not really accessing it. So the question life presents us whenever we have those enhanced feelings, right? Enhanced experiences of our feelings. It's why don't you feel that way more often than not? Why don't you feel that way more of the time? And that's the thing to realize, that there's nothing that's going to give you that feeling. You just have to give yourself access to that feeling. And as you get to see, it's allowing you to redirect your focus, attention, time, and energy, right? That's how I refer to fate. Focus, attention, time, and energy. And as you see fate as that way, you could take fate back into your own hands. And then now you get to see, okay, it's not about buying the jewelry. It's not about buying the clothes. Because as you think about the things that you want to buy, it's reflect, as you think about that, how do you envision yourself feeling when you buy it and have it? It's like, oh, it's going to feel so good. Say, okay, cool. But in what way? And that's the thing that you're wanting to experience right here, right now. And not so much that will make life more enjoyable. It's your mind is translating the things that you want as a way to communicate with you, and saying that, okay, let's say buying more jewelry will get you to feel more worthy, more prosperous, more valued, more beautiful, whatever the thing is, right? That's you communicating to yourself through the imagery of the idea of you wearing the jewelry, that's how you want to feel right now. And you want to feel more valued. You want to feel more worthy. You want to feel more beautiful. You want to feel more vibrant and more luxurious, more lavish, right? Whatever those feelings are, that's what you want to be recognized within yourself. And that's what's going to allow you to come back to enjoying life a lot more. It's how can you allow yourself to see that within the life that's happening around you. And it's like, well, I don't see that. That's why I want to buy the jewelry. Yeah, but what happens is you'll buy the jewelry, wear it for a little bit, a month max. I'll give you a month max. It's probably going to be way less than that. But because you have to understand, you are such an expansive being, such an expansive person, you're not going to limit at just the jewelry. You're going to keep expanding it to more. It's like, cool, I got the jewelry, now what? Now it's probably going to be a house or a car or a dog. And it's going to be more and more and more and more. But what it is, it's that feeling is, let's say, we'll use one of them, for example. In order for you to feel that sense of worth, right? Because that one's a very strong one. It's a very heavy one, depending on your relationship to it. For you to feel and experience your sense of worth, it's going to take you to come out of the mind and be present and see what are some qualities about you that you equate to a sense of worth. And as you think about worth, how does that feel like? And it takes you to put all your thoughts aside as to what you think you have to do to access that feeling, and just look at yourself right here, right now, so you can feel the sense of worth. by giving yourself your focus, attention, time, and energy. Because how worthy does one feel when they receive your focus, attention, time, and energy? Right? How worthy do you feel when you receive the focus, attention, time, and energy of another person? It's like, oh, you see me, right? There's a sense of worthiness within there. So you get to see, and coming back to the present moment, you don't need anything. But the specific things that's being poked at through previous circumstances or the patterns, right, that we're trying to solve and fix, it's readily available right here, right now. But it takes breaking out of autopilot in order to experience it. But there's something that you experienced that made that not feel safe anymore, right? Tying back to worth, there's something that you experienced where your sense of worth, your worthiness took a blow, it took a hit. And the reason why it did is life was to show you, right? And you wanted to show yourself that for that split second, the sense of worthiness was misplaced, either on the thing, on the person, on the job, on the opportunity, and it's like not there. And you could tell by the sense of pain that it's not there. And whatever the stories that come up and take place and the path that we go on to try to like get it out of that place, out of that job, out of that opportunity. Maybe if I get this promotion, or maybe if I get this thing, maybe if I get X amount of money, the worthiness is going to be felt and experienced or acknowledged by other people. And the same blow will happen in different ways, right? That's where you can have different experiences, but they all feel the same. That's where you could go for different kind of relationships with different people, but they're all, for some reason, emotionally unavailable. That's shit. But it's to show not there. It's like life is playing a game, hotter, colder, colder. And there's times where it's like it feels hotter, but the second there's the confusion that takes place of like, oh, this thing has it. It'll go from hotter to colder, cold as ice. And as you see, okay, what matters more than anything is just this moment. Nothing else is happening other than this moment. What would happen if you experience this moment like it's the first time ever? It'll be like, wow, this is amazing. And you can look even at your surroundings now to where like you can look at your bed, a bed that you slept in for years, and be like, my bed is incredible. I can't wait to lay in it. I'm going to make my bed so it's like it's there waiting for me and I'm getting into it for the first time, right? It's also why, besides the fact that it looks nice, right? The reason why hotels make their bed, I got to wrap this up, it's almost a half hour. But the reason why, I'll close with this. The reason why hotels make their bed, besides the fact that it looks nice and it's clean, it gives you the feeling like you're going into the room for the first time. It gives that first time, it gives that fresh feeling like, and that's the feeling that we enjoy on vacation, something fresh and new. But every moment is a brand new moment that has never happened before. And you could do something like making your bed so that when you go to bed later, it's like you're getting into bed for the first time. And just little ways like that. Again, making your coffee. How would it be if that was your first cup of coffee ever that you were making for yourself? But you already know how you want it to taste. And you get to see, it's like every moment you're starting over with experience because you already know what you like and what you don't like, which allows you to move so much quicker to the things that you want and like. And there's a big hint in that I'm leaving for you with all things, but we're just using it with a cup of coffee. Because if you had a fresh cup of coffee that you made for the first time ever from you to you, and you already know everything that you would love to have within it, how would you make that cup of coffee? And then next thing, how would you savor that cup of coffee? How would you drink it? Would you drink it in a rush just to like stay awake? Or would you truly savor it? and really enjoy every sip and feel the love that you poured into that cup coursing through your veins and through your entire body. How would that feel? If you want to talk about worthiness, how does that feel to do that for yourself in that way? Readily available to you. So all these little ways that everything we're looking for is just right here within this moment. But when we're lost in the mind, because we have the superpower of thinking of the future and thinking of the past, I'm not saying not to do it, right? It's just do it, but come back. Use your mind intentionally so you can come back to this moment. And then you can really savor life even more, again and again and again and again. And you get to really experience the bliss of life, and life just becomes this amazing miracle, no matter what's happening. And it just keeps getting better and better and better. So with that being said, I'm wishing you an amazing day. If it's nighttime by you, wishing you an amazing night, and I will catch you later.